Hi, welcome to my podcast, Learn Multilanguage with Eureka. Hey guys! In today's video, we're going to discuss time conversions between China, America, Japan, and Korea, and daylight savings. Do you guys know what daylight savings is? Daylight savings is a strategy by the US to save daylight time when it is during the summer. Each year, during April, the US sets their clock 1 hour forward to preserve the daylight time. Once it is November, they switch back to the rest of the world. Now, this concept has a little bit of controversy because switching the clocks 1 hour forward causes people to become more groggy, sleepy, and essentially have a worse quality of life because they're getting 1 hour of less sleep. In spirit of going back to normal time for now, I've started to make this video. So you might ask, why are you making this video? Because it's a little different, I admit, from my usual language content. In response, I say this is actually a pretty interesting and helpful method for when you have relatives or friends overseas, or if you have to convert time regularly for your job. In this video, I'll show 4 methods that are different from each other that you can use on your day-to-day life. Some of them will be easier than others. So let's jump right in. Again, the concept of daylight saving time is in America. America is the only country out of this list that does daylight savings. However, there are some exceptions to this rule, especially states like Hawaii and Arizona. They keep their time as normal all year. However, in China, Japan, and Korea, they all have normal time and they do not utilize daylight saving time. Here's a map showing the time zones for each region of the US. Each of the time zones in the US are 1 hour apart. So, how do you convert time between each nation? Well, the first method is to use an online calculator. The pros of this is the most convenient and fast way that requires the least amount of brain power. The second method is to subtract time. You can see the calculations on this slide. And obviously, it changes from Pacific Daylight Time to Pacific Standard Time, depending on the time of year. The pros of this is portable because you can do it in your head. But the cons is that it's annoying to deal with negative numbers when you have to subtract from a smaller number than you already are. So for example, if you're subtracting 15 from 9, then you get a negative number. This means that you have to also subtract from 24 in order to get the actual time. Not only this, you have to change from AM to PM. So you can see that this method takes a lot of steps. The third method you have is to add time. The pros of this method is that it's quite simple. You can do it mostly in your head. The cons of this is that in some situations, when the number you calculate goes over 24, you have to subtract 24 again from that larger number to get the time. In addition, you have to convert from PM to AM or AM to PM, which is also annoying. Now, the last method is to just use an analog clock. A lot of you probably already have analog clocks in your homes. So this is a method that almost anyone can do. The way you do this method is you take a look at the current time on your analog clock, and if you are living in China, you subtract 4 from it to get American time. Of course, in this method, you also have to flip the AM to the PM. However, in most cases, that isn't very important. You should also make sure whether it is daylight saving time or not in America, because depending on that, you will subtract either 4 or 3. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Hope to see you in the next one. Find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and on my website. Thanks for listening.